I think this might be a crazy idea, that what we define now as lupus in one bubble will become 5, 10, 20 different little bubbles. I believe that we will be able to stratify better, to define the different forms of lupus, because the spectrum, as you know, the spectrum of lupus is huge. Not everybody with lupus has the same problems.
Probably the most important thing for us as a community, as a lupus community, is it's going to be to try to understand which are going to be the best treatment for each patient and to do more personalized medicine in our patients.
It is so critical that the scientists work together so that we understand the entire cornucopia of lupus.
And then I think it's very clear that the trials that are going to be ongoing over the next few years are going to require international collaborations, and they will be very, very important.
I have collaborators, around the world, and I think that is the exciting thing about a meeting like Lupus 2025, where we are today, is that it really brings scientists from all over the world to come together, put our brains together, and interact with patients and clinicians and try to figure out what are the right ways to be using drugs, what are the next things we need to be developing, how do we study something better. And in a rare disease, you need a lot of samples sometimes to get to the bottom of something, and that's where participation on a global level is really important.
When you gather people who have expertise in the disease and insights, and you ask them to contribute their wisdom, I think there's the key to the success.
It's just very satisfying too on a humanity level, right? That we can all work together and work towards a common goal of curing lupus.
Now there's where I am very optimistic, because so many new treatments are in development. We'll have more choices and better choices in the future for the patient. It's also quite understandable that a person who has to deal with a lifelong disease, with an unpredictable character, with many complex issues that are not always recognized so well in the healthcare system, that they could feel a bit lonely and isolated.
Lupus is a very diverse disease, and we know that access to care is also very different where you are in the world. Some treatments may not be approved, or if they are approved, they may not be available, or they can be costly because the patients have to pay themselves for the treatment, which is a big challenge. So I really think this international perspective is very important. And we've been touching that also, but I think any research project should involve a community of researchers, an international community of researchers, and patients or patient representatives, patient partners.
I would say that the awareness is now increasing, and that we are able to identify patients at an early stage, and hopefully we are not delaying the diagnosis, the journey that patients go through, sometimes years, until they get a diagnosis for lupus. So I would say that I'm more enthusiastic about the early phase, that we as clinicians are able to identify the patients at an earlier phase, and hopefully we can treat them earlier. And in the long run, that is of course positive. We need to collaborate in order to do good research. In Europe, we are already with Europe Lupus, or Lupus Europe, we are already trying to connect with enough patients to do proper research, because that's the only way that we will get good data on outcomes and potentially to translate this data into the clinic, of course.
Let me begin by saying that how we look at lupus clinically has evolved significantly. There are a number of things. Number one, the disease is becoming more and more recognized, and that's good. We've got to keep putting it forth in the public's eyes. That is important. So I think that's happening, and I'm grateful for that. The next thing is the explosion of new therapeutics. Even now, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about the CAR T-cell therapies, you're not even talking about improving lupus, you're talking about curing. Now, I almost didn't want to say anything like that, because I don't want, that's still years of investigation and treatments, etc. But it gives you a sense of optimism.
10 years ago, we were very limited regarding treatment in lupus. And now you go to this kind of conferences, and they're presenting positive data on 4, 5, 6 new drugs. That was, I think, unthinkable 10 years ago. So that is by far, I think, one of the best improvements that we're seeing for our patients. And second, probably what you were mentioning, that the patients are getting involved in every step of the way, in research, in care, and I like the way this is going.
Yes, we have to simplify and have guidelines and have classification criteria to communicate. And we all realize that now that that's not enough.
What's on the horizon for drugs? I mean, the burgeoning levels, something PubMed in the United States has listed the number of drug trials ongoing in lupus now at somewhere around 60, 70 drug trials. It's incredible.
There's been a lot of excitement about the single cell technologies and being able to dissect at the tissue biopsy level, but also in peripheral blood, looking at each cell individually instead of a bunch of cells together. And this gives us cell by cell information of exactly what's happening in a lupus patient.
So maybe I can tell you about an initiative we have, which is the Lupus Brain Fog Severity Scale. We have started an international project to capture and define precisely what is brain fog, because we know it's a word that means many, many things. So it's a huge international qualitative study to gather feedback from patients about their lived experience of brain fog. And the idea is then to prepare a scale to measure it precisely.
We are at the University of Michigan, where I practice, getting some trials up and going, looking at more types of cellular therapies. There's several phase 3 studies right now out for lupus and for skin lupus that are very exciting, that had really good phase 2 data.
Many treatments are now in an advanced stage of development, meaning they've already shown promise in earlier trials, and now they're being tested in the very big phase 3 trials, which means that hundreds of individual patients are actually getting that treatment, and they're very carefully compared with those who do not. And then there will, at the end of the day, there will be a decision. It is an effective treatment, yes or no. I'm optimistic that many of these treatments currently in development will get a yes, a green light. That means also regulatory-wise that the authorities will approve them for use in lupus, and that they will be available to the patients and their physicians.
One trial that just finished up, and I'm really pleased that I did take part in that trial, is called the Regency trial, and we were looking at a monoclonal antibody called obinutuzumab. Obinutuzumab is a much more, it's a different style of monoclonal antibody, and it's much more effective in B-cell depletion. The other really exciting sort of therapeutic area in lupus and lupus nephritis these days are the CAR T-cell therapies.
We have new treatments, new approvals. There are, I believe, many more treatments coming. And what we heard at the conference, precision medicine.
I think in terms of diagnosis, the real message is to educate the first sort of people that interact with a potential lupus patient, the primary care physician, the family physician. For women, a lot of times it might be the OB/GYN physician that they see to say, hey, something's a little bit amiss and maybe this could be an autoimmune disease.
I think it's a very exciting period for lupus in general.
It's not here, but I think it will be here in the next years.
The best voices are patient advocates.
These tests will help with the totality, but it still has to be first and foremost what the patient tells us, second what we see on physical examination.
I mean, lupus is becoming something of real interest, and the best way to find solutions for problems is to get people interested.
Right now, with lupus, we are at an inflection point. Good things is about to happen. They haven't happened yet. The more the patients know, the better they're going to do down the road. So there's a lot to be done.
Yeah, I think this is the most hopeful time that we've ever had for lupus.
I would say you are making a great job. We need you in the other side because for our specialty is so important, all the patient societies and working groups.
And so I think that this is probably the most unbelievable time in generating new data from human lupus patients.
I'm very happy with these times actually, because I think we are slowly getting out of the dark zone and entering into the light.
As we say, force comes with unity and cooperation.
And definitely all together we are making a better world for lupus.
This has to be a partnership. You know that. So when I think of underserved people that maybe we need to reach more, I think about there's different ways, right? There is education. There's also how to build trust, how to improve communication, and how to improve outcomes.
Treat earlier, treat better, new guidelines, new collaborative groups, new data about basic research, genomics and proteomics and so on. And definitely, the hope is a good word for lupus right now.